I've seen some things happen on a golf course, and I think I've even been kicked off a couple of golf courses, but I'm curious, out of all your years working at these courses, what's like the craziest thing you've seen happen?
Had someone die.
Really?
That took a dark.
Oh yeah.
That
just went somewhere else.
All right, guys, welcome. We are here doing the first ever OMADA vidcast. We're here at Egan's Pub at the New England Country Club. I'm here with Mike Darren, my good friend Mike Darren. Are we good friends at this point?
I would consider us good friends.
You gave me this hat, so I think we're decent friends.
That's what I'm glad I could buy your friendship.
Hey, by the end of this, when I get you that steak dinner, we'll be good friends.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. I'll be happy too, right?
All
you
right,
get a hat, I got a beer. Right? We're all winning.
So I think a good place to start, we're just going to be talking golf, talking shop here a little bit. I think a good place to start, I'm 22 years old. Josh is 23 years old. Where was Mike Darren at 22 and 23 years old?
I was in the golf business. Yeah. Working at a 9-hole golf course in Groton, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yep.
So
snack bar, mowing greens, working in the pro shop. Yep.
pretty similar to my summer this past summer.
I did a little bit of everything. Yep.
So I did a little research on you. I dug a little bit on you.
Oh my God.
We got here. So you have an accounting degree?
I do. Yes. Bentley, now university. It was a college when I was.
Did you ever put that to any use?
I actually did taxes. Taxes was a pretty cool thing where, from January 1 to April 15th, it was a pretty busy time in the tax business. And then middle of April, the golf business kicked in.
So you were actively doing both kind of at the same time?
I guess you could say,
yeah.
Not really. I mean, it kind of tax season ended and golf season kicked in, but there was a little bit of crossover. Yeah. Yep.
No, that's cool. I mean,
it helps me every day.
Yeah, seriously.
Now I have to count for that hat you took.
Yeah, you got to check back on inventory.
So, because with coronavirus, we're at this stage right now where we just graduated college.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a job right after school. So, I mean, I got here. You graduated in '91, right? And then
yes.
Your next thing on your LinkedIn was director of golf at the International in Boston.
In Bolton, not
Bolton.
to be confused with Boston. Yeah, Bolton
really?
is like Boston without the glitz. It's out closer to Worcester.
So what was your main responsibilities at that kind of job?
I mean, I ran the golf operation. It was a busy place. The International was actually home to the world's longest golf course. Back then, it was by Guinness Book of World Records. It was 8,325 yards long.
Oh my God!
Yep. We called them Tiger Tees long before Tiger was even.
What was the longest hole?
The fifth hole was a par 6 at the time.
They had a par 6?
715 yards long.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh my God! I've never played anything like that.
Oh my God!
The green was 87 yards deep by about 40 yards wide.
Who designed the course?
That was a Cornish design. Yeah. Jeffrey Cornish.
That is literally. I've never
crazy.
even heard of anything. So what was it, like a 4 shot to get up to the green?
Yeah, that was the beginning of finding the right part of the green. In fact, that was the punishment when you came in and on the maintenance crew, and you looked at, it might be 5 o'clock in the morning, and they had all the duties listed out, and you're half hungover, and you screwed up the day before, and you're looking for your name, Mike, mow the 5th green. You're like, I'm in the doghouse, yes. Right? And you're walking, and it's like, yeah, okay, I'll see you at lunchtime.
Just because of how big the green was?
Yeah, it took a long time.
Oh
yep.
my God.
Yep.
I'm trying to think like what the shot sequence would be to play up on that. It's like you got to hit.
I was thinking that too. So
like
driver, what would you driver 3-wood? Like how's
yeah,
that
if the pin was in the front, you were saving almost 40 yards. So you could actually get home in 3 instead of home in 2.
Oh, right. But if you're playing from the tips,
yep.
So you hit like what, a 3? Let's just say, because I'm a decent long hitter, right? So if I'm hitting, even if I hit my long ball and it's like 320 off the tee, you're still what? You've got like 400 yards left.
Well, it's a dog leg, so you'd have to bust out something just to see around the corner.
Oh,
or you're
really?
hitting over the corner. Yeah, bends to the left.
What do you think the bend was at? How far was the bend?
It was probably, from the back tees, 500 yards.
Oh my
and the
God.
150 post was kind of inside the corner.
So now you got to get creative on that second shot, because now it's not just a straight shot to the green. Because no matter what, you're not making it, right?
We had I think it was Fox News came one year talking about the length of the green, and we tried to putt a ball. 87 yards.
Jesus.
So we could actually get the ball from back to front because it had some downhill, but we could not get it from front to back.
And was it a fan favorite hole, or how
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of become notarized for it. 87 yards, and like, where's the pin today?
Mhm.
So back then it wasn't red, white, and blue. You had that sliding sort of wiffle ball or flag. It's like just because it says in the middle, it doesn't mean anything. That was just the beginning of that was back before we had laser guns and we could sight it out and get down to the exact yardage. So yeah, it was a pretty cool place, and that was just the.
What was the par?
77 was from back then, for back then.
Is that like out? Like, is there like do you have to have a certain par now to be considered like qualified as a PGA course, or like how does it work?
It's a very good question, because the handicapping rules and guidelines for par or player par or tournament par or course par are all changing. But back then you could make the par anytime you want. The joke used to go that Willie Nelson had his own course, and it was a par, 87, and he was 1 under the day before, or something like that. The par was just an arbitrary number. Par changed every day depending on what he shot. Yeah. But now,
my course would be a par 92, because that's usually where I'm at, the 92 range.
But that's all changing now, trying to make it so that if we're playing in a match, that people who get strokes on certain holes, that will make a difference. So and there'll be some guidance to that too. Downhill, uphill, altitude all plays a major factor in how far the ball goes. Yep.
Question of like walking and riding, was that a walking course? How did that work?
It was pretty flat.
Yeah.
It was there was longer.
Okay, so it wasn't too bad.
You're playing a course that's 8,000 yards long.
Yeah.
You still had to walk it, whether you're playing it from 8,000 or 6,000.
Exactly.
You still had to walk that same distance. So there was some walking.
Oh, right. I see what you're saying. Yeah. So no matter
the course is set up.
you're just
you're finishing one hole and walking back.
Right. I got you.
I mean, there are some occasions
this could be a longer walk than there almost.
I would rather walk the 8,000 yard course than this place.
Yeah. This place's walk is tough.
100%.
Yeah. This
place, I like to walk, but the couple times we've done it here, it's been a long round.
Yes.
I think on the flip side of that, though, there's also the benefit of it being a difficult walk. It's like when you if you go on a treadmill, like not everybody wants to just go on flat. They use an incline. Like if you're gonna walk the course and you're using it as, because I know like your brother, right? He walks to get his exercise once a week.
Yeah.
He does 18 holes on the weekend or whatever. Like to me, this course is a perfect place so you could actually build leg strength, not just like, you know what I mean? Like I think there's some positives to it. But
for
if
sure.
you really your exercise, then 100%.
I think there's a lot of people that actually do consider that their exercise. Like if I was older, if I was, let's just say 65 years old, how much better of a form of exercise can it be to play golf and walk?
The worse you play, the more steps you get.
Yeah, there you go.
Right?
So you're like penalized.
It makes you think.
Now you're like challenging.
I'm trying to play bad to get more exercise. Different way of looking at it. Walking down the middle is not going to maximize your steps.
That's a good excuse for the next time I shoot bad.
Right.
I was just getting an exercise.
More swings and more steps.
More steps. That's pretty funny. That's too good.
So a long course like that, I mean, this is just another question, but what do you think would be the most important? Like, would your drives be? If you have a driver that's consistent, is that all you need at that course to shoot well, or?
Well, if you're playing from the back tees, it's a totally different course. You could play from the white tees.
From the back tees.
The back tees, I mean, just talking about the fifth hole, for example, I believe, if my memory serves, if you want to get the ball to the fairway, you're looking at a carry about 240 yards. Oh, so that's and a lot of people say, I hit it 240, but you don't carry the ball 240. 240 is a different type of, different level. For sure, right? I mean, hitting it 240 and rolling, it's 280-yard drive, and a lot of people think they do, but not so much. Seriously. Yeah, but so there's a lot of long carries like that, and there's a lot of
hazards.
Shoots.
Are you hitting over hazards?
Yeah, sometimes. But there's some of the shoots, where you're just trying to hit it down this hallway here. So you hit your Sunday best, but it's 3 yards to the right and hits a tree bench and falls down behind the black tees. You're like,
right?
What am I going to do now? you haven't reached you got 200 yards to the ladies' tees.
Yeah, that's pretty rough.
Yep.
I'm trying to think though, like, because even on so you talk about the par 5, but like, what about a par 4? What is a par? Is it like like if you walk into a building, they've got, if they have 10-foot ceilings versus 8-foot ceilings, it looks bigger, it feels bigger, but it's not that much footage-wise bigger. So it's like on these courses were the par 4s and 5s just bigger par 4s and 5s, or did they have just more holes that were like par 5s instead of par 4s?
That's what so it ends up going from a 72 to a 77 in the yardage. Where I think it makes very difficult is the par 3s, because none of the par 3s changed from a 3 to a 4. So just to give you some yardages, like the 4th hole, went from like 170 to 190, not that hard. The 7th hole went from, I think that blue tee played around 190, a little bit downhill. The back tee or the Tiger tee was like 267.
On the par 3.
On par 3?
Oh, man.
The 16th hole went to like 277. I remember like
but they didn't change the par.
Still a par 3.
That's where you separate the pros from the not.
The 13th hole was, and those two holes, 7 and 16, along with 13. 13 was the short one at 250. All were over at water hazards.
Now that's a weird spot to be in though, like a 267. That's probably one of the weirder distances because like for me, if I hit my driver full.
Driver for me, baby.
I guess so.
What do you mean?
If I hit a driver,
you're gonna hit a 3-wood, but as hard as you can.
Yeah, like not even though. If I hit a 3-wood as hard as I can hit 290. If I hit a driver as hard as I can hit 330, 340.
Are you gonna carry or is that a rollout?
There's no rollout on that one.
No, probably not. I would think I'd have to carry. You're right.
Yeah,
so I would carry it about 260 something.
It is a weird shot because if I was to
downhill.
step up to that hole, I would just have to hit like a normal drive, but keep it straight.
Yeah, that's challenging.
I had my favorite story about this. The 16th hole was the one that has 277. I was new there, sort of starry-eyed. Had a chance to play golf with a baseball Hall of Famer, my boyhood idol, who I'm not going to name right now, but we got to the 16th hole, and we were playing the white tees because he had brought his father with him. And he said, "Have you ever played from the back tees?" And I hadn't. I had only been there for a year. And that wasn't something you went out and played a lot because it was tough. It was difficult. So he goes up there from 277. He was a pretty good golfer, probably a 7 or an 8 handicap, and crunches a driver right in the water. Pulls another ball from his pocket, hits it about the same, right in the water. While he's looking for more balls in the golf cart, I stepped up I was younger, longer, more physically fit, and hit my 3-wood right in the middle of the green. Pure luck. That infuriated him. He emptied his golf bag.
Reload.
I think he put 6 in the water. One kind of veered off to the left towards the snack bar, but he was visibly upset that I just ripped a 3-wood right in the middle of the green. Pure luck. Best shot of the day for me, but it's my boyhood idol probably to this
That's
day.
unreal. Those are like the moment. Those are the best moments. Like I had one. I was at a tournament with. I think you were there with me, weren't you?
Which one?
When I took on the pro.
No, that was the one I missed.
Yeah, you
I
missed
heard
out.
about it. Trust me, I heard about this story.
Yeah,
several times.
Yeah. I had
heard
this
this
one
one.
where I was going out to a par 3, and there was this pro. I think it was 170. The hole was 170. There was a water feature, so you either hit it good or you didn't. And they were doing a raffle, so it's like you paid $20 or what. Beat the pro, right?
Double your raffle tickets.
And they were saying how, I think it was like 1 or 2 people on the whole day out of 200 people or 300 people, whatever it was, beat him. And because he's just all day long. I mean, he's dialed in at this point. Yeah. And I stepped up and I remember putting it like 10 feet from the pin or 5 feet from the pin, whatever it was. And he walked up and he still hit it. He hit a decent shot on the green, but I got it closer than him. And it was in front of, 20 people because they're all kind of blotched up. But those moments when you, as an amateur golfer, to take on a pro, like builds up, that's like what makes you play,
Especially
I've
somebody.
heard 10 people. Well, I don't even know what it is at this point.
Did you win the raffle? That's all I care about.
Yeah, right?
It's funny.
Seriously.
I won it, and then I lost the money, and instantly before I even got off the course, it fell out of my
It's one of the
pocket.
best things. Terrible day out there, but you win the $500 raffle. Your
One
day's
swing,
turned
a
around
magic
quick.
swing. Yep.
Yeah,
Magic
the
swing.
money I think I won like $50 or something like that. And
Oh, that's awesome.
it fell out of my pocket. I lost it. I don't deal in cash.
It's definitely a nice accomplishment to step up and get closer than the pro, though.
Yeah,
It's a
it
good
was-
accomplishment. I'll
it
give
was-
you that.
it-
I'll
it
give you
was-
that one.
because it's you got one shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the freight train did it on the same day, he did the long drive.
Yeah.
And he won that one. And you win a long drive. You don't talk about ego builders. Like that's
Yeah, it's usually one of those
I've
self-monitored
caddied some-
contests.
I've caddied in some tournaments
Yes.
where The funniest thing actually with those kinds of tournaments where you're writing down the name is like I've caddied for like a bunch of guys who will put a fake name. So they, at the end of the day, they're announcing the winner. Everyone's looking around.
That's so funny.
I have probably in my lifetime managed or run 500 golf tournaments. That's how old I am.
Really?
So when you have long drive, is there 500 long dives? But when there's men's and a women's long drive, it adds a whole new dimension to it. So we put out this little sign. Sometimes we put a logo on it, OMADA GOLF logo on it. That's a good question. So if on the same hole or different hole, it doesn't seem to matter. So I'll put men's long drive. And on the ladies, I put ladies long drive. And sometimes I'll even get crazy with a color printer and highlight the ladies so that the men won't win the ladies long drive. They don't pay attention. Even though, I mean, part of my shtick before every golf outing is
letting them know which hole it's on.
Please mark the correct signage. It's even become a joke because when we announce ladies long drive is named Ralph, it just kills the whole buzz at, mark the correct sign for God's sakes. Never mind put the correct name on the sign.
I've seen some things happen on a golf course, and I think I've even been kicked off a couple golf courses, but I'm curious, out of all your years working at these courses, what's like the craziest thing you've seen happen?
Had someone die.
Really?
That took a dark turn.
Oh yeah. Holy that went somewhere else.
You said crazy. That's about as crazy as you can. Literally, a guy drove up. It was July. It had to be, one of those hot, humid days where, senior citizens shouldn't be outside. And this guy's driving the cart and he's pounding on the window of the pro shop. And I look out and, this guy had cardiac arrest and he was like a unique color. So all those tend to be surprised what you can remember under those pressure situations.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I've actually seen a couple of those at work. I've seen a guy collapse on the course. Everyone just, rushing out there.
It's funny because he
did survive. His heart was beating when he left. He did not. I was very fortunate enough there was a EMT in the pool.
That's how it usually goes. Yeah. At the course that happened with me, a doctor just happened to be playing that same day.
That's crazy.
Go grab Dr. Whoever on hole 6. Get him over here, We have an emergency.
Really?
Yeah, that's how it happened.
How do you get in contact with them?
Just drive out there.
Drive
Come with
out
me,
there, scoop them up.
Time is of the essence.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. You find a lot of things about don't ever dial 911 from your cell phone because they can't tell where you are. You always dial from a landline.
Really?
So if something gets cut off, they can start it took like an extra 5 minutes.
They can't track your cell phone?
They can, but it takes a lot longer than the landline. And like you said, every minute, every second
counts.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But crazy things, happier things. There's a lot of other strange things that can happen.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe something because I've seen you've seen Entourage, right? I don't know.
Yes.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
So that brings back that thought process of when Alan, the studio head, dies on the course from a heart attack. I feel like it's an iconic thing, right? Because Caddyshack, remember the guy dies on the course from the electrocution?
Yeah, great scene.
Yeah, and then of course all the movies like The Legend of Bagger Vance, where the guy again dies on the golf course at the end. So funny.
I have a friend who works at, knock on wood, this has not happened here. He's the golf professional at Lake of Isles, and at the casino, that is in the wheelhouse for bachelor parties.
Oh yeah, golf and casino.
So he cannot. The stories don't end about. And if you ever played Lake of Isles, I don't know how many miles of bridges they have going across the wetlands.
Really?
But golf carts end up going off the bridges into the water once or twice a year.
That's one thing because I had been in a golf cart where it happened.
Yes.
I was in a golf cart with my buddy who he was driving, and it's not like he was doing anything wrong, but he, if the tee box was right here, he's coming up on the right, but he's not accelerating yet. And when he went to accelerate, the wheels were just turned. So he literally, as soon as he hit the gas, it was too late.
Yep.
That's usually how it goes downhill. People trying to turn. Just stay straight, man.
I've always been afraid of that.
Always turn and then flips.
We've had 2 incidents just last year where it rained on the 14th hole here. I don't, you try to put yourself in their shoes and think that there's some common sense, but it's a stretch for me. This guy drove up over an embankment. There's no way he didn't know there was a water hazard there. And I could send you the picture afterwards and we could maybe edit it in, but it's like the cart ended up in the creek. So all I could see was the 2 golf bags attached to the back. The guy was like, I didn't see it. What do you mean you couldn't see it?
Was he drinking?
I don't think so. That's the scary one. It was during a weather delay, so it was coming down pretty hard. So, maybe he was.
It's even scarier that he's not drinking.
Yeah.
Right,
Right. Wait, drive home after that too?
If you're from the 18th hole here, I was only described this. I rove in the scene afterwards, but a gentleman hit the ball in the left woods, and there's some outcroppings up there. And he drove his cart thinking he was going back down to the fairway. When you drive up over a hill and you don't see the horizon, my first tendency is to slow down, not to accelerate or continue to get air. He got
air.
Probably 20 feet in the air and landed the cart in the 18th fairway by the cart path. And luckily, he wasn't hurt. They were thrown from the cart. And the cart appears to be
really?
not in. Yeah, I was
paid for it though.
Didn't damage it. Didn't appear to be. I mean, I kind of that's a tough thing to do. You want to make sure he's okay.
But then you're also
in this
pissed
day and
at
age,
him,
right? You want to make sure he's okay. In this day and age, everybody has a lawyer that's on TV, and
that's on TV.
I mean, his dad's a lawyer. I'm sorry, but
don't have to worry.
That guy's
This guy's over there.
The guy on set was dad's an FOP lawyer.
Hope maybe he can defend us against this guy, but he didn't mess it up. But I want to make sure he was okay.
Yeah.
Was he sore? You don't ever want them to leave the property without getting offered medical service.
Yeah.
So those are just a couple things from just this past year.
That's just this past year.
I've had some crazy people on carts too. Last year I had a lot of times there's people who, if you don't golf a lot, like you bring someone out there and the carts are a fun aspect, so they kind of take it too far sometimes. But I had some guy, one of my old college roommates, name's Dean. He drove. I went out to the course with him, and he was trying to hit one of the sand traps as a jump, and I didn't know what was going on. I had a panic attack during the whole thing, and I think it's crazy.
There's a fine line between having fun and messing around a little bit, and then being destructive.
Well, have you seen these new trends? There's this trend online,
knocking people over.
Yeah, what's serious injuries? I don't know.
Those things weigh a ton.
Yeah, what is happening?
I don't know. They could really wreck themselves.
What's going on with
nowadays? Get something on video of someone getting hurt,
but are you kidding me? You're gonna these people are reaming into
good stuff,
going fast. It's not like they're going slow.
Driving into the water. A couple times our carts ended up in the water. We had a guy last year, about this time last year, as we were open. We're talking about walking versus riding, and walking allows you to go directly to your ball and not worry about your cart partner. So I think it actually saves time. It may take you longer to get to your ball, but you're not worrying about who's got the cart, who's got the clubs.
Yeah.
But when you have a cart, sometimes I think you forget that it's okay to walk a couple feet.
I know,
whether it's parking too close to the green.
No, that's a true thing. People don't know where to park the carts.
These guys were the last guys here on hole number, and I was waiting for them, and they come up walking up the last hole. I'm like, where's the golf cart? And they end up getting in their car and leaving quickly. So where's the golf cart? I'm doing an inventory. I need 80 carts. So I'm going 17 times, 79, 79, 79, 79. I'm like, where's the? I took a ride out there, and it's starting to get dark. They had driven the cart into the hazard on 17 to get their ball, and they couldn't get out.
Oh my God.
Now, if you put that cart there, I don't know how it got all the way there, never mind expecting to get out. We did try to, because there was some damage done to that one, but.
Dang. What'd you do?
How do you get those guys?
Well, it's a fine line. You got $1,000 worth of damage. How much are you going to spend in trying to get your $1,000 worth of damage?
Yeah, right.
Before it just becomes unless we can get a discount from our favorite lawyer.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Good to know on deck.
Here's my thing though, is I feel like I've been yelled at a lot on golf courses for pulling the cart up
too close.
Yeah, I feel it. And I don't know if I'm in the many or the few, but if I'm driving up to a green, obviously I go away from, I'll drive the cart around where it says carts go this way. But I'm one of those lazy guys that will just drive it kind of sort of closer on the rough. Is that do you have a lot of beef with those guys?
Yeah, I mean, I'd call that one of my pet peeves because there's a whole different ways to looking at it. It's human nature to get close, right?
Yeah.
It's also human nature to pull out of the way. But as you pull out of the way and the cart tires leave the pavement, that wears on the grass.
Yeah, big time.
So now I was going to say my favorite example. It's not really my favorite. The best example, this is our 18th hole, right around the green there. People are trying to get out of the way because there's carts coming from off number 9. And you can see that the grass is wearing away. It becomes hard.
It's nightmare.
So
exactly. Super, right?
Right. So but it's a nightmare for you now. So flash forward, you're trying to hit it into the back left pin on 18, and you give it a little bit of a tug, and you just miss the green by a few feet. Well, now it's not hitting rough, it's hitting hard pan. And that ball takes a bounce and is now heading towards the snack bar or the 9th green because of that hard pan. So I always try to stress to people all 4 tires on the pavement.
I should note that I've done that a couple times. I'm not like.
It also depends on, if it's a nice day, you can get away with it a little bit. If it's rainy and crummy out there and it's leaving tire marks directly after, that's the problem.
Oh, actually, wait. This brings up a huge thing. We were filming a video, and I was talking to the camera. I grew up my whole entire life since the first day of golf to the last day. I've learned you replace your divots with a divot.
Yes.
You take the divot and you put it back on the ground. And I was in the video, we're filming, I'm saying this to the camera, like, God, take care of the course. You know what I mean? Got to repair the divots. But we didn't have sand or seed or anything like that.
Yep.
And this guy comes over and says, no, that doesn't.
It's a myth.
It's a myth. Like, they just die on top.
Well,
they die on top.
It is kind of a myth.
The seed is the best.
50%, yes.
Yeah.
50% will stick. So you put that down and you give it the obligatory step, and the mower comes down and it goes pew, and it's just never going to
rips it off.
But if you can put it back the proper way and get it in there where it starts to, that's the best way and the quickest way for it to germinate. But percentage-wise, you're better off with fill and seed and to do it right.
Really?
Yeah. The guy I worked with at the International, the guy who owned the place, he was obsessed with that. So you brought up the carts off the path. He would just go bananas about people not filling their divots the right way or putting them back the right way. And we used to call him green side up because people would put it up the green side up, not the brown side up. It's never going to take more of a joke, but he would be obsessed with that. And we always had.
What did they do at the Cape Club?
We had divot fill bottles.
They had the bottles, right? So but see, I played there with one of the members, and they are hardos about repairing the divots.
Yeah.
It's a
well-kept course.
Yeah.
So I feel like the better kept grass will be a lot easier to heal because more water in it.
Bent grass grows sideways. So if you can get it in there, it will germinate faster. But unrepaired ones, that's where it's tough. It also will lead to the next guy coming through and your ball ends up in that same. There's a couple spots at the Cape Club where the 12th hole, all the balls seem to end up in the same spot. The first hole, like par 5s, right around that 100-yard marker, balls tend to collect in certain areas.
It's funny. I actually have a funny story about that. I caddied for a guy once who, short hitter, did not hit it far at all, like driver 190. I'm not kidding, older guy, He would joke around, but he only repaired the divots in his areas. Because his ball never went to some of the areas other people's divots were at.
Oh, really?
So he was like, I'm going to repair all the ones where my ball lands. Like, he knew he couldn't get there, so he would never repair those ones up there.
We had several members at the Cape Club who, traditionally the golf cart went out with a divot fill bottle for each player. He would take 2 extra because he was going to go out and.
Yeah, I've seen guys.
Because they're just advocating for
some
the
guys
course.
Just get all of them, you know what I mean, as they're going by.
Actually, and that's why one of the big things that we're trying to implement in like the push carts that we're doing is I feel like it's a better selling point to a golf course that if you have people, because like they have the standard pole ones that just don't have any, like if you're using those versus this, if you're walking, you have the time, but 2, if you can get one of the sand buckets that's attached to the cart, then it helps people take care of it. It's always been for me, if I have the seed, I'll do it. But most courses I play that are public don't have any, there's no way for me.
Yeah, so if you don't have the seed, is it that you should put the divot on top of it?
Well, even sand would work because the grass is going to grow sideways.
What if you had nothing?
Trying to put the divot back.
Put the divot back?
And try to obviously make it be.
Yeah, that is kind of.
There's a certain direction. Everyone's got a different sort of divot pattern, thinness versus deep, and make it go in the right. It's like a jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just explodes. And I always try to, even if it explodes, to kind of kick the area in around to shrink the area that needs to grow over. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That makes
I mean,
sense.
I think it's a great idea to have it was always a thing at the Cape Club where walkers didn't have the ability to fill in the divot bottles.
Right.
So, a club had to have extra divot bottles and an accessory, the jug holder, whatever
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
call it. Yep. Yep. Some they would put out there on certain holes. The Cape Club, for example, might be the third hole was a short par 4. They'd have a little area over on the side if you're carrying your bag, an area that could actually go and get divot fill.
I feel like I can't even imagine carrying my bag nowadays. We used to do that every day we played on the.
Make them so light, and all the strap systems
bags?
are different. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I put too much in my bag, I think.
Yeah, sure.
I'm the way we play, we got some extra.
How many-
luggage in there.
How many golf balls do you have in here? How many tees and ball markers do you have? Well, you got 12 beers in there too.
Seriously.
That's too funny. I mean, how much I've told you over and over again how much I love New England opposed to the other courses around here. And I guess my big question is, why is does it come down to something like New England's pretty well kept, even in the summertime, unless it gets to like August where it just, but everywhere it gets burnt out. I'm thinking in my head, it's like, why is it that New England has been able to keep the fairways relatively green? Whereas like some of these other courses, like I don't want to even name names because I don't want to be mean, but like they're horrible, Mike. Like you can't, when you go to hit the ball, you can't even get under it.
Yep. It's really, it boils down to water management and what their assets are. We have a pretty good water source here.
Mm-hmm.
It's not cheap, but other places the water isn't cheap and it's limited.
Oh, true. Like you don't have.
So we have a
the
summer
source.
like you had last year where we didn't have a lot of rain, and those places are going to suffer. But you flash forward that or flash back where you've got a lot of rain, they're going to be in great. They drain well, and we might be cart path only and limit our audience. When you're having carts on the path,
True.
The people who don't like to walk and take push carts aren't going to come here. They're going to go someplace else. So, knock on wood, we're blessed with a good water source. The price is right.
Budget, I would say half of it.
But other places they're limited in their source, and they have to get it someplace else, and getting it from a town or a different source is very, very expensive.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, we had that lot of courses in Greater Boston. We were in a huge drought. Last year was close.
Wow.
Last year was close.
That's
It's
true.
water.
You don't think about it like that.
How you manipulate, so water management, starts on opening day or even before that. What kind of product do you put down? What the expectation levels are, like even mowing the rough a half inch taller might require a little bit less water. Our system here is very old and antiquated, and we need to change it and improve it in a big way. But we have the source, and it does put water out there, and our superintendent does a really good job. And there are days I feel bad for him because it just seems like that's all he does is worry about.
Yeah, those
water.
Superintendents, they check the weather every single hour.
How much water gets put
literally
down.
half of their
Really?
job has to know what the weather is. You know what I mean?
How much does he want to require? I want a quarter of an inch of water every night on the greens. How much did it rain? How much am I putting down? How many turns of the sprinkler heads?
Yeah, weather's half of it, man.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about that. I mean, I was, but I'm like, obviously you can't.
It was like when
You
we
can't know until you
It's
do
hard
it.
to blame the club, and and some of them, their lack of water has helped us. And the sad part is for them is that a lot of them will aerate their greens in like September, and that's when the water will run out because you've used it all summertime. So we instead we aerate in the springtime where the water tends to all the runoff and the melting.
So you only aerate once?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yep.
So I mean, I've heard of I'm pretty sure the course I worked at did, twice,
Some
right?
fall. Yep.
You do it at the beginning.
And I've heard
and
of
the
places that don't do it at all.
end. Really?
Yeah, it's definitely a
What is the
So
art.
could you
what is the
tell
reason?
walking onto a course? Like, could you tell?
I could if they needed it and weren't doing it.
Yeah.
But that's always a pull and tug between someone who's trying to put golfers in the course and someone who's trying to limit.
Mhm.
Basically, it's just like your golf carts. People walking carts, you then pull the plugs out
Yep.
and replace it with non-compacted soil,
Right.
sand.
Yep. The sand.
and it grows sideways. So
You've
it
played on
allows.
aerated greens, right?
But why? I don't even understand what aeration is. What does that even do?
You just
Yeah, so you're pulling out a core,
Oh, okay.
replacing it with sand. It allows nutrients and all the right water to get down to the roots.
you've
so-
played on an aerated, right?
Of course,
Yeah.
a million times.
Yeah. You hit the green.
How
your ball's
often do you
sandy.
do it? How deep do you do it? How big are the holes? How much sand you put in?
It's
When
just
do
a
you do
weird
it?
thing.
Yeah.
It's all like
And that's based on
it's
weather.
an
half
art,
of it's, right?
Yeah. so
It doesn't even make sense to me though. Like, why sand? Like, are you putting sand in? Or are you?
Yes.
Or is it, oh, you are.
Yeah. So you pull the hole out,
Oh, it's
so it
weird.
creates this little. Depending on how large the core is, it might be 2 inches long. You see a little tuft of grass at the top, then you see some dirt, then you see roots. You come and you pick all those up, and that's where the fun begins. That is manual labor.
Oh my
You
God.
take a plastic shovel and slowly scrape
seen
the
it, man.
ground.
I've seen
Yeah, I actually did it last year
Had people
for us
play.
here, and you push them all off, and then you collect them because that's actually valuable. That can grow grass, and you put that on spots where you might
No, what
bent
that
grass to grow.
I didn't know that.
Like if you were to take that and push that into one of the divots, that'd
Yeah.
be perfect.
Really?
So it's like got the seed already in it,
Yeah.
got the nutrients already in it.
So it's
And then you
confusing
come
a little
along
bit.
and you project sand down.
It is. I'm so.
Then you
confused.
drag the sand into the holes and you keep on putting sand until you finalize. Do you want the holes completely filled? Do you want them half filled? Do you want them partially filled? Because eventually over time, they will close. Yeah, it's
It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
Because I've seen like the big piles of them.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? I don't know why they leave them like that or what.
usually that's where you pick them up, you drop them, you then spread them out, and over time they'll actually grow bent grass right there.
Oh,
So you guys,
It's almost like Instagrass. Yeah, it's actually an asset. Having all those cores is an asset.
that's wild.
You don't want to throw those away. You want to take them home and put them in the bad spot. It's like that grass you can buy in Home Depot, a little bag where you just.
Yeah.
It's almost the same thing.
Wow.
Yep. If you want
Do-
bent grass, bent grass is a different. You don't want that. Wouldn't you want that in your yard?
Yeah.
you wouldn't want bent grass in there?
A little bit harder to take care of. It's not as robust and hardy like a ryegrass, like a rough grass.
I need to learn more about the grasses because that's a huge thing. All these different golf courses with the different grasses.
Yep.
Something I'm not really too up on.
You ever play and miss a green? Not that we've ever missed a green before.
Yeah.
You're just off the green and you're in like your ball has fallen to the bottom and you're like, how can I almost missed it because it's almost unseeable. That might be an area where someone has spilled grass clippings or some of these cores. That's bent grass. It's a very, very thin plant and it grows very dense. Versus
Grows
if that
like
was
this,
or
right?
it just the ball would just go bloop and be
Mhm.
almost unseeable. Very, very difficult to play out of. Yeah, we've got a couple spots here where it's like
I've never even heard of this before, and I'm like, now that you're saying, it's like when you hit out of that, it's a whole different.
Oh.
experience.
someday.
100%.
I guarantee you, at some point, during the golf season, it'll be right around the greens, where it's just a spillover, whether it's with the grass clippings from them mowing or from the aeration.
You don't
And
realize.
sometimes it's like they think that they do this on purpose.
Yeah. That's too funny. I mean, yeah, you really don't realize how, because like from my perspective, like when I was in on the golf team in high school, we
Yep.
played at one of these really rugged courses that had no green, no water, and it was basically farmland. But the way that you play your ball, first off, because it's not just one or the other. It's when you hit and when it impacts the ground, because if it's dry grass, crabgrass, whatever, like it runs out a lot further. Like I had so many, like on a nice course like New England, I can stick the green from almost anywhere.
Yep.
But and of course, getting to a private country club or something like that, even then, it's incredible because now the spin actually really starts to play a factor.
Yep.
But back at that course, there was no ability to do that. So you had to play a whole different shot perspective of running it up, and when you hit off the ground, it's funny, like thinking back, I think I was better than I actually was at that point because it's so difficult to hit like that out of it. You know what I mean? Because you can't get the club underneath the ball.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with like what type of swing you have. Do you take a big divot? Might not be that effective on a hard course. You take a
Right.
big divot, might be better off on a wet course. And even the type of club you play can make a big impact on how much turf you take.
Yeah, it's
The
like
Cape Club, for example, the Neponset River was right there, and it was always soft. It was
Always
real.
soft,
Yeah,
yeah.
Cape
always
Club was
soft.
so soft when
So
we played
soft.
there.
Yeah.
I was taking monster divots.
Yes.
Yep.
yes. Yeah, and part of that is
They didn't like me there. I'll tell you that.
part of
I was
that's
taking
water
big
management,
divots.
and that the Ponset River and that pond, which I think is around the 16th hole, there was, believe it or not, like an otter or a beaver issue where they actually had a dam
Oh, yeah, I
where
heard
it wouldn't
that.
drain.
No
The
way.
water would not go across 128. So then all that water just kind of, the water table grew up, and up. And
Of
it would-
all the times I've played that course, let's say I've played it 5 times. I think 4 out of the 5 times it was thundering and raining when I played there. So I've only ever played that course when
The
the
day
divots were the size of craters. Like,
I don't think you weren't there. The day
no, I didn't
played.
play with you. No.
It was a nice day, but I swear the ground was still. It was
always wet.
It was wet.
It's always wet. Yeah,
So-
we used to joke it was, it wasn't a surprise when it was cart path only. It was more of a surprise when you were allowed
When
to
you
drive
were
in the
allowed
fairway.
to.
Yeah, yep. But it was always green, and
Yeah,
that's
very
what
green.
ownership wanted.
I think because I've gone to a lot of golf courses where they still have very, very old, nothing's changed in 100 years. And it's just like,
They have old things there too, but yeah.
yeah, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think the big question here is, especially from somebody like you that's working directly with it every day, how do you feel about this? Like, what do you think the next movement for golf is, the
The
evolution,
new age.
the new age golf? Like, how do you feel about?
Yeah, well, I think golf's got a big, cloud over its head. It takes a long time.
Yeah.
So whatever we can do to continue to make it less time, it's a burden. It's not cheap, it's not expensive, but we need to get people through faster.
Yeah. It's definitely an issue.
And it's even a matter of getting them checked through faster. So the next thing I see coming down the pipe is this whole sort of, and it goes into the mobile phones and stuff like that. And we may dabble with it this year. When you drive onto a property, and you've made the reservation using your cell phone, you're going to be able to do everything from your cell phone.
Yeah, you're checked
Not
in.
hitting the golf shop, but you can get a sleeve of balls, pay for your greens fees, order lunch, all right from your
That would
phone.
be nice.
That would be nice.
So that's a huge benefit.
Write that
and
down.
Nice savings. As time savings as well as convenience.
Yeah.
But what also works in it for me is hopefully you'll spend more, but I also know where you are
Yeah.
on the course, so I can actually track your
It's
progress
like the
and
carts
pace.
with the.
Yes, it is. It becomes a GPS that
wow.
I didn't pay
Mhm.
for.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
That's why I hate playing those courses with the carts that, if you're stuck, you have to go backwards.
Backwards, yes.
But do you think that golf, even along with this new age technological advance and sort of what's the right word for it? There's this, it's like the difference of how golf, for instance, when golf started before Tiger Woods,
Yep.
what people wore versus after.
Yep.
It's gone to more athletic. It's gone to more sportsy.
100%.
It's like, especially working at a public course, I feel like you're more exposed to people not being so aware of dress codes and things like that. It's like, for you, do you think that the game is shifting now from going from the country club vibe to kind of being the powers being shifted to the common man? And it's
Oh yeah, for
becoming-
sure. Yeah,
And
and
you
everything's becoming more casual, whether it's
Right.
payment types and the game has to be more available to everybody.
Yes.
100%.
And that's
Yeah.
money. That's
And-
money.
And so I like wearing my hat backwards. I don't want to turn that person off. During the wintertime, jeans are warmer.
Yeah.
So if you're going to play golf and it's 39 degrees out there, I'm going to allow jeans.
Yeah.
Shirts untucked.
Yeah.
So coming from other places where all that stuff was not allowed, what's a collared shirt nowadays?
I just think it's crazy.
V-necks versus turtlenecks
Yeah.
versus t-shirts.
What is a collared
And it's like,
shirt? Yeah.
but it still has a collar, and some of the t-shirts are crazy expensive. Some of the jeans are crazy expensive. What's the fine line now?
Yeah.
Having said all that, it's hard for me to demand a higher price if the guy is surrounded by, we'll take our driving range location, for example. We're the greater Woonsocket area. That's a revenue source, that driving range for us. Somebody wants to come hit balls with their son and come in a t-shirt and cut off jeans. and they're hitting balls right next to someone who paid $90 to play golf on Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's conflicting a tiny bit.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That to me is the hardest part to
It is.
sort of
It
mix
is.
them together.
Because
Merging,
I've been that guy. I'll show up to a range with flip flops
Yep.
and just hit some. I mean, I can hit a good ball, obviously, but like I'm still very, very casual many times.
Yep.
I think that's. The
I like
direction
playing
it's
golf.
going.
Truthfully, it's gonna sound crazy. I like playing golf barefoot.
Yep.
I really do enjoy, especially on a nice warm
It is
summer
nice
day.
sometimes.
I like. It's almost like when people go out into a beach, they like the feeling of sand.
Yep.
I like the feeling of grass. I feel like grass on it. It's weird, I know, but like sometimes I feel more connected to the course too.
I've heard it many times before. Just be careful that you don't have any small cuts because you don't want any of those chemicals getting inside your. Not that I've ever seen that happen before.
Yeah. Oh, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
Where are
Dude,
they?
that's a real thing. People picking their balls up. That's why when you're cleaning your ball off, don't lick
Yeah.
it or anything. Like people lick it.
You
before.
cut your toenails a little bit too close, and
Mhm.
and all of a sudden you're out there walking around, and you get some of those. You wake up the next morning, and your toe might be purple.
What are you talking about? Like what pesticides?
The amount of chemicals they spray out there.
Really? Oh my God.
The course I worked at, when they would actually like spray paint basically
Yes.
to make it green.
Yep.
And you would finish a round and the push cart's wheels were green and your shoes, the bottom of
Yep.
your shoes were green.
Yep.
And that's why they would say like, I guess one guy like used to, I don't know if he'd lick it or lick his finger and then wipe it off and then like you licked it again.
Really?
But yes, a guy actually like got sick because of the chemicals, like
It happens. Yep.
just from trying to clean his ball off.
Yep. And you,
I
you use paint so you don't double apply
Yeah.
it. Stuff's very, very expensive. So
It's crazy. I
you don't want to overlap it because
Mm-hmm.
the grass will have different. This one will get twice the attention than this, but you also don't want to waste it.
Yeah.
And some of them will put the white foam, so you'll see like
Yes, that's
It's
what
the
they
same
did.
thing.
Exactly
right,
that.
or they'll
What does
put
that do? I thought that was just like runoff.
No, it's so they know where to spray.
Oh, that's what. So,
So
they
like
go like
you're
this, and then
mowing
they
the
have next
lawn,
line.
you see a stripe, and you come back when you're spraying, you don't have a
That. I
stripe.
was wondering what that like
Yep.
the bubbles falling.
It lasts
off
about
were.
an hour, but that way you're not
Mhm.
double applying the.
It is nice,
pesticides.
but it's also fake. You know what I mean? It's not real. Like the course looked too green.
Well,
you pull in, you're like, this is
you
too
guys
green.
put paint on the course?
No. I don't-
Sometimes you do, yeah.
some
Really?
some places do. Yeah.
Ours.
It's like
No.
it's like
You can't
Chipotle.
tell.
I've
We
heard
got a
that
whole
with
bunch of white
Chipotle
paint out
with
there
the
now.
food.
It's like the supermarket with the tomatoes, with the light on it.
Yeah, like at Chipotle, they literally apparently like paint the
Yeah.
food, make it look more bright.
There's a blue dye in our winter, so it makes it look extra green. So we'll never know that probably until May now. But last year was everything. Why is everything so green? You guys paint the course, and I'd say yes, and they'd be kind of true.
That's unreal.
But it serves two purposes. It makes it look greener during the off season, everything kind of turns brown, but it also prevents him from double applying the applicator.
Well, anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you guys would like to follow our social media, please visit us at OMADA Golf's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, anything and all. We're on YouTube. You might be watching this video wherever, but we're all over the place online, and we are loving bringing content to you guys. So if you enjoy this, please let us know in the comment section below. If you disagree or agree with any of the things we talked about, we'd love to talk with you and engage with you. So be sure to leave us a comment and make sure to subscribe because we got a lot more good stuff coming out. So thank you guys for watching and have a good one.